Hey there, guys. How's it going? Can you hear me okay? I hope you can. You probably can't see me that well because the lighting's not so good, but look at the view. Let me know. Let me know in the comments if you can hear me okay. So anyway, I'll keep going until Mel's here. Mel's behind me. She'll let me know if you guys can't hear me or not. But according to my mic setup, you should be able to hear me. So we're in District 7 today. And if you're new to the channel, my name's Matt. This is Matt's Vietnam Life. And to the guys who are already watching, thanks for joining again. I see Vu and Derek are already online. Let me know who else is online as well. So yeah, we're in District 7. We're at a place that's a really cool little coffee shop that I'm kind of reluctant to tell people where it is because it's such a nice setting. And probably, as you can see behind me, there's a canal or I don't know, it might be a river, and you can probably see a boat going past right now, which is heading to a small jetty, I suppose you'd call it. That's part of a park just next door, and it ferries people up to, for the Vietnamese speakers, a Quang Nhau or a Quang Ang, just down the river a little bit, probably, I don't know, might be a 5-minute ride or something like that. And I don't know how much it costs, but I'm guessing it's part of the service that the restaurant provides there. So it's really cool. It's a really nice spot. Unfortunately, you probably can't see me that well, but that's not so bad. We've got a great view in the background, and we've got Mel there. She's just having a late lunch and a couple of juices. So let's have a look. Who's here? Bees. How you going, Bees? Thanks for joining us. I hope you guys can hear me all right. Just let me know. Let me know if you can hear me. At least if you can't see me so well, I'd like to know that you can hear me okay. So yeah, nice little place here. As I said, right on the river. It's also a sort of a wedding venue as well. And then over in this direction here, there's a nice big park, and they've just opened it up for families. I think there's a lot of stuff there for kids. So if any of you watching this or maybe watching this after the live, yeah, you might be looking for something to do with your kids. And I have it under good authority, that that park over there is really cool for kids, and it's just opened up. Let me just have a look at the chat here. I'm juggling a lot of things today because I decided at sort of last minute that I would use StreamYard. That's the logo that you probably see up there, wherever it is. And it's quite a good little third-party app to use when you're live streaming. And I'll show you a little bit more about it later. So just bear with me while I juggle with these things. Okay. So it looks all right. I'm just looking at it on screen here. Okay. Vu, we can't see your depth chai face. That's probably a good thing. It might change though if we keep live streaming for a little while today. There's some lights here, so you know, you might be able to see my depth chai face. But here's one of the boats that's just leaving now, the yellow one, and they come past every couple of minutes or so. Now I'm just going to walk away a little bit, stand back here. Hopefully you can hear me okay. Mel, let me know if you can hear me okay at this distance. You should be able to. Yeah, okay, cool. Alrighty, yeah, so I'm using a different streaming app today which runs through YouTube. And it just means that the back end of it's a lot easier for me to keep an eye on my laptop. I'm streaming off my laptop today, and my Canon M50. And it also allows me to bring up like the little video that you saw at the beginning, which is kind of cool. So I pre-uploaded that video from probably 2 or 3 years ago, actually, maybe more. Anyone who knows Saigon, there's a really cool street food street. It's called Hoti Key, and I think it's District 10. It's right on the border of District 5 and District 10, even though that probably doesn't make sense to you. It probably, doesn't really make sense to me either, but really cool place to go for street food. And I went there probably a couple of years ago and filmed that little video. Okay, Pat, the weather looks absolutely amazing. Yeah. Actually, I'm going to talk a little bit about the weather soon. I just want to sort of show off how to use this StreamYard app. Yeah, today is sensational. Friday night, and the atmosphere was just super hot and super heavy. And then that night, parts of Ho Chi Minh City had the biggest rainfall they've had in 10 years, I think, or close to 10 years. And yesterday was sort of overcast, and I think there was a little bit of rain scattered about here and there, but woke up this morning and it's been sensational all day. Super hot though, super hot and humid. Okay. Okay, Mel, what are you eating? I think she's eating a kind of German sausage or something. German sausage and some fruit. No, chips, German sausage, and a couple of fruit juices. Yeah. Oh yeah, she said already. Yeah, yeah. The sound was crackling a bit before. Yeah, I don't know what would be causing that, breaking up a little. Oh yeah, that'll be the internet. I might have to go onto my phone, maybe. Anyway, let me know if it gets worse, and I might have to switch over, do a hotspot or something on my phone, but I'm kind of reluctant to do that because it'll probably cut it might cut the whole thing, and then I may have to start it all again, which will be a pain. So, yeah, bear with me. Okay, so I thought today I would just, while you guys are chatting and while you guys are coming up with a few questions to ask me or ask each other, I was just going to go through a few sort of things that were making news in Vietnam this week, and I'll try and negotiate my way around the use of this app. Um, so here's the first one. Let me see if I can bring it right up. Oh no, that's not the first one. Uh, Sorry about that. I clicked on the wrong one, obviously. Here we go. This one here. I wanted to hit on this one here first. Um, Places worth a visit in Thao Dien, one of the world's coolest neighbourhoods. Now, Thao Dien is in what they call District. Sorry, bear with me for a second while I work this out. Thao Dien is in a district which used to be called District 2, but it's now called Tuduk, and it's about, I don't know, a 10 or 15-minute drive away from here. And yeah, there's been an article out about this area being one of the coolest places in not only in Vietnam but also in the world. So they name a number of places. Hopefully you can hear me okay. Mel, can you hear me okay? Can you hear me okay, Mel? Yeah, okay, between bites of your sausage. Yeah, so they've named, yeah, District 2, this particular area, Thao Dien, as one of the most, one of the coolest neighbourhoods, not only in Vietnam, but also in the world. There's a lot of bars and restaurants there these days. And especially during the pandemic, a lot of what happened was obviously because we didn't have too many tourists. We didn't have any tourists coming, sort of 2020, 2021. A lot of those sort of businesses, F&B businesses that were centered around District 1 that catered for tourists, they had to sort of adapt. And so a lot of them shut up shop in District 1 and moved out to District 2 because there are international schools there and there's a lot of expats living out there and Vietnamese people who have a bit of money. They tend live out there. So um, it's become a real foodie neighborhood. And if you're thinking about coming to Saigon, it might be an area for you guys to think about visiting for a night out. And in this article, they list a bunch of places. Now, I don't usually go over there very often, to be honest. I'm more of a District 7 kind of guy. And it's a bit of a tricky thing to get over there as well. So I tend to stay on this side of town because you have to cross the Saigon River to get there, to get over to District 2 from here. So it's a little bit tricky. And there's really only 2 or 3 ways you can do it. And the traffic can really screw things up. So I rarely go over there. But I thought that I would give a quick list of places worth visiting in Thao Dien that I've been to. A lot of the places in this newspaper article I haven't been to. So what I'll do is I might just quickly list them, and then when I go back home after this and the live is fully uploaded, I'll list them in the description. So that might be useful for you when you come. One of the ones I really like it's called Weekend. So they didn't add that on the list. WKND, Weekend, a great spot for brunch. And very Australian sort of style brunches, Western style brunches with, I guess, with a bit of a Vietnamese flair as well. So check that one out. Brunch at Weekend. For cocktails, 86 proof. Now, I haven't actually been to the new location, but I went to the original location on the same street, on Swang Tui Street. And back then, it was a great little cocktail bar, and they did awesome cocktails at a really reasonable price. And I believe they do a really good happy hour as well. The third one is a place called Clay, and it's right on the river. I don't think actually, is it the Saigon River at that point? I think it might be still the Saigon River at that point. And across the river is Dom Nai, the province of Dom Nai. And it's a great little spot that's right on the river where they have a happy hour. They have reasonably priced beers, and they also do some good sort of nibbles and dinner and stuff like that as well. Sometimes they have a DJ. If you're into DJs and stuff like that, they'll have parties and things like that. But it's a really cool place to take people when they come. I brought my mum's cousin there. Mel and I went there and we took her there, and it was a really good place to go because sometimes it's a little bit difficult in Saigon to come up with places that are suitable for people, say, who are a little bit older. They prefer aircon usually. They're a little bit wary of eating local food and getting sick. Here's another boat. There we go. It's a highlight of the stream. Yeah, so it can be a little bit difficult when perhaps your elderly parents are coming over to visit and stuff like that to choose a place. But Clay is a really good one. Um, Mel and I have really enjoyed that. It's been open a few years now, right on the river. Got to get there early. Best idea is to book as well. Okay, I'm just going to the chat just before I lose you all on the. Um, let me go up. Sound is fine. Okay, Peter. Okay, Peter. Keep up the alley blogs, talking to the locals. Thanks, Peter. I'm glad you liked it, or like it. My latest couple didn't go that well, although the goat curry one went okay. It kind of went okay and got quite a bit of interest and a lot of chat in the comments. I think because also it's just a pretty unusual kind of place. People come to Vietnam to eat Vietnamese food, but there are a lot of Vietnamese locals cooking food that's not traditionally Vietnamese food and or innovating and adapting. And this particular place here, Mel had been telling me to do it for a long time. Mel's got to take a bit of credit for me actually getting off my ass and going in there to do that particular place. So I went in probably a couple of weeks in advance and tried it out to make sure that it was still okay and it was really good. So that really got me motivated to do it last week. The one with the snails, I don't know whether snails turn people off, whether that turns them off watching. Yeah, I don't really know if that has an impact on the way the video performs. I don't know, but I changed the thumbnail again, changed the title a little bit, but I'm going to keep up doing it. Yeah, I really enjoy doing that style of video. I just wish my Vietnamese was better, but I think part of the plan is that the more I do it, hopefully, the better my Vietnamese will get. It's a tough one because I've never really been what is it, bilingual. I used to speak Japanese a fair bit. I studied Japanese at university, and I lived in Japan for 3 years, and I first started studying Japanese in Japan, and I got to a fairly high level, but that was 25 years ago, and I hardly ever use it these days. So anyway, hopefully, yeah, the method in the madness is to do videos, to connect more with local people and improve my Vietnamese and hopefully find some really interesting stories. I'm kind of treating this particular period in my video making as sort of a step towards perhaps other content about Vietnam, I hope that makes sense. Anyway. Okay, sound is fine. Thanks, Mel. Yeah, I agree. Love those alley vibes. Thanks, Bees. Yeah, I'm glad you like them, and thanks for supporting the channel all the time. Bees, for anyone who doesn't know, is watching from Scotland. So I really appreciate that, and it's great to have an audience that's beyond Vietnam. At the moment, probably 40% of people who watch my videos are watching them from within Vietnam. And then the next highest is probably US at about 20%. And after that, Australia is like 6%. I haven't been able to crack this Australian viewership for some reason. I don't really know why. Because you'd think I'd be able to resonate a little bit at least with an Australian audience. These. Okay, let me go back. Sorry, Vu. Do you think Vietnam will introduce the golden visa? Me? Do you think Do you want my opinion on it? I think maybe eventually. I think the media got onto it pretty quickly in the last week or so, didn't they? I saw some headlines, and then some of the YouTube channels that I watch coming out of Thailand, um, they sort of grabbed onto that as a bit of a hook to get people watching, I think. And it was one of those scenarios where it was like the headline was like Vietnam introduces long term or retirement or golden visa. But when you actually went to the article and read it, it was more like, it's been suggested that or put forward to the government, I think, to consider having. I think there's 4 tiers of visas that they were proposing. Um, yeah, I can't see why they wouldn't introduce it in the future. Um, and I would like them. I'd like to see them make the whole just sort of tourist visa thing a bit more simpler for a start. That would probably be good as well. And there's things like, I think if you've got a tourist visa and then it's about to expire, you still have to leave the country and come back again. I think things like that. I think also with spousal visas as well. I think you're supposed to leave the country. Even Vietnamese, even foreigners with Vietnamese heritage, I believe. You might be able to answer this one, Vu. I believe that there's a 5-year visa with 6 month, what do you call it, stints. And then once the 6 months is up, you still have to leave the country to reactivate it again. I'm not that clear on visa stuff anyway, but I think it would be really good to see some kind of retirement visas come in. I don't know about digital nomad visas. I haven't really thought about that too much. Yeah, I mean, I think I'm a little bit up in the air with the digital nomad visa, perhaps because of what I've seen happening with Bali, Thailand, and places like that. But having said that, sometimes you only ever see the shocking thing on social media rather than what's actual fact. So, yeah, I don't know about that, but I hope so. I hope things become easier in that regard. Bees, when they say cool, do they mean Instagrammable? Because I think all of Vietnam is very cool. Um, it's a good question. I don't actually think Thao Dien is an Instagrammable place. I'm not sure whether it's worthy of going there in order to, you know, beautiful photos and stuff like that. It's also not a place that's really grown organically. It's not a place that's particularly arty, or there isn't that it hasn't come about because of, sort of street culture and stuff like that. Um, Initially, it started out as an expat enclave for the oil workers, the BP compound. They called it the BP compound. British Petroleum compound was built there back back not long after Vietnam reopened, like in 1995 or something like that, in the early to mid 90s, that this sort of gated community opened up. And then it hasn't been until about the last 10, maybe 15 years, 10 years, that it's become this place where there's a lot of sort of higher end high rises, apartment blocks, residential buildings have popped up along there. I can remember 15 years ago when there was still a slum along Highway 1. So, 15, 14, 12 to 15 years ago, there still is a canal, a small canal there, I think. And there was a slum along there. When you came over Saigon Bridge and then onto Highway 1, which obviously leads out to in the direction of Hanoi, sort of northeast, there was a slum along there. So, it's only relatively recently that Thao Dien has become this sort of upmarket, I guess you'd call it, enclave in that particular area. So yeah, and I think it's a nice option. It's a nice option, and there's a lot of really high quality restaurants, cafes, and bars there, and the overwhelming majority of them are either owned, managed, or you know staffed by young local Vietnamese, which is really great. How are we going? I hope we're going okay with the audio and the video. So let me know. Let me know. Okay, I'm kind of in my own world here, even though Mel's in the background. Uh, how else can I say? Eating sausage. um, yeah, I feel a little bit isolated here still. So uh, bees, 86 proof cocktails. I'm on my way. Yeah, I don't know. I think it was. I think the name originally came about because it was the number of the street, the block where it was 86. I think. I think. Lana, how are you? Good to see you. Sorry, I'm taking a little while to get through the chat. Good to see you, Lana. Thanks for joining again. I hope you're well. Uh, here's the boat. Yep. Yeah, Vu. Yeah, your mum and dad would really like it. And it's suitable for all ages. I mean, if you have kids, it's okay for kids, but generally speaking, 18 above, all the way up, 18 to 80. It's really lovely. And it's set in sort of has a similar aspect to this. But of course, the river's much bigger. The river's probably, I don't know, 3 or 4 times wider, and all the big container ships come through. All the big barges with containers on them come past there on the way to the port and back. These, your vlogs are very relaxed, natural, and interesting. You're doing a great job. Okay, thank you. Thanks, Bees. Thanks for that. Yeah, I'm just trying to sort of find my little spot, I guess, on YouTube. As I've mentioned many times before, my background's writing, so not necessarily in front of a camera. And so when you're out vlogging, so to speak, there's a whole lot of other things you've got to consider, especially with a camera, audio, dogs. Yeah, so it's weather. It's a real challenge. The next 3 months are going to be a real challenge for me in terms of vlogging because of the weather. We're at right on the cusp of the rainy season, and some parts of Ho Chi Minh City last Friday got 200 millimeters of rain at some point during the night on Friday night. So quite a bit of rain. So yeah, that brings its own challenges when you're trying to make videos for sure. Okay, bloody Aussies, yeah. Okay, bees. Oh, here we go. The football talk. The football talk started. We've got a wedding. There's a wedding, I think, going on just across the way, and someone's doing a mic test. Okay, what else? Thanks, Bees, for the audio. Okay, that's good to know. Oh yeah, Mel, good point. The interior of District 2 cafes, um, or if there are fests like beer fests, maybe coffee fests or sort of clothing. Sausage, she said sausage fests. Yeah, we probably won't be going to those. wine dinners, stuff like that. Yeah, as you said, they're probably fairly Instagrammable, but I was thinking more along the lines of, say, Bali, places like Bali and Thailand, perhaps, say, in Vietnam, like in Da Nang with the hand bridge and all that sort of stuff. It's not, Phu Quoc is another place. It's not in the same league at all. Peter, hey Matt, do you travel around Vietnam much? I haven't recently. I haven't. The last trip was Da Lat in November, actually. So it's been a while. I've got itchy feet. Um, the guys who watch my live regularly, they know this story, but I'm waiting for my motorbike license. Um, I have an Australian motorbike license and it just expired, and I've just been dealing with renewing that. Long story short, I haven't quite got it yet. And the plan was to go down into the Mekong in the second week of June. We're already into May. We're already into the second week of May. So in a month's time, the plan is, it's still the plan to go down into the Mekong for a few days. I want to go to Calvin, Sopjang, Bakilu, and maybe if I have the time and maybe if my backside can handle it, Cam out, uh, which is basically the southernmost point of Vietnam. So, yeah, but last year, Dalat, where else? I don't know. Vung Tau, a few Vung Tau trips. Yeah, I don't get to travel as much as I'd like to. Um, Hopefully more once the license gets back. Yeah. What about you? What about you? Have you travelled much? Do you get a chance to travel? Yeah, Mel. Yeah, Matt's waiting for his driver's license. Yeah, it's been actually the interesting experience I've had about renewing my Australian driver's license is that the Vietnam part of things is much easier and much quicker and cheaper. So get your head around that. I know that I'm living overseas, but it's been a real issue because from what I've experienced over the years, a lot of government services aren't set up for Australians living overseas. As an example, I had to send a whole bunch of paperwork back to main roads in Queensland, and I went to DHL here, and the only address main roads had given was a PO box, and DHL doesn't deliver to PO boxes. So then I had to send it to my sister's house, and then um, she was good enough to take it into main roads and hand it over personally. Also with payment as well, they wanted me to pay with either check or money order. I think that was it. So yeah, it should give you an idea of what it's like. Let me just grab a drink. You should be able to hear me from here. These mics have a pretty good range, and I don't know what this is. I don't know what is it. Raspberry slushy with a bit of orange in it. It's really good. Ah, okay. So Peter, Mel just told me that you're asking about a Vietnamese license. Yeah, so I've had a Vietnamese license basically since I've been here. So very easy to switch it over to a Vietnam. Not switch it over, but get the Vietnamese equivalent. So obviously I've had a car license since I was 17 or whatever, 18. Um, but in Australia, you can get your learner's motorbike license when you're I think I was 16. So I've had a motorbike license since I was 16. Um, and so it's very easy. All you have to do is get it. You may be aware of it, I don't know, but all you have to do is get it translated um, with your sort of conditions or whatever. They want to know what your conditions are, i.e., is it just a car license or is it a car motorbike license or is it a car motorbike truck or bus or whatever. So yeah, that's what I've always had. I've always had a Vietnamese license, but it's contingent on obviously my Australian license had expired, so that meant that my Vietnamese license automatically expired. Whenever your TRC expires, that means your Vietnamese driver's license expires. Having said that, I only found out a couple of years ago that there's actually a Vietnamese license that you can get, and it's lifelong. You know, I only found that out a couple of years ago. So once all this is done, the plan is to go and get my lifetime license. So that'll mean that even though, maybe down the track, if I don't live here, I'll still be able to come back and use that Vietnamese license till the day I die. So that's pretty cool. I think it is fairly pricey because you do. Even though I've got a Vietnamese license, I think I still have to jump through the hoops and do the written test and do the little bike test and stuff like that. I'm not too clear on that, but there's a motorbike shop not too far from me who organises all that sort of stuff. Peter, I'm in Da Nang for 9 weeks soon. Can't wait. Beautiful. Good timing. Super hot right now. Now's May. It's probably the hottest time of the year. Mal and I have been up there in May a few times, and it's roasting, absolutely roasting up there, usually at this time of year. I think the Ironman 70.3 might be on this week, maybe this weekend. Hottest time of the year in Da Nang. And I'm going to pump myself up and say I went in that event back in 2018, but there's a relay. It was the sprint version. It wasn't the 70.3. It was what they call the sprint. And I did the swim leg, and a couple of my mates did the harder legs. They did the running and the bike, and it was absolutely roasting. But beautiful town, very popular now. Sorry, guys, I'm a little bit behind on the chat, but anyway. Vu. No, that was Mal. That was nice. Derek came to meet you both last week, Mal. Lovely pic. Yeah. Actually, Derek turned up just after my batteries cut out, and so he was actually quite disappointed. I think he wanted to be on the stream, so it would have been good to have actually had him on to chat about perhaps what life's like for Vietnamese Aussies. Maybe next time, Vu, we can get you on when you come back. Matt and Mel needs to go to Da Nang. Yeah, we've been plenty of times, and probably the last time we went, I was doing a little bit of writing for Travel and Leisure Asia, and I got the job. I got the job of going to the Intercontinental Da Nang to stay for I think it was 3 nights, I think. It happened to be Mel's birthday as well. So I asked whoever it was, the marketing manager of the resort, whether Mel could come along or not, because it was her birthday. And they're like, yeah. So we had this amazing stay for 3 nights at the Intercontinental. It's, 5-star plus. Except for the monkeys. There's a lot of monkeys there. But sensational stay. What else? Hello, Xin Chao. Duc. Hello, Duc. Thanks for joining. Looks like you live in Vietnam. Let us know. Yeah, so yeah, back to the Thao Dien. Very good place to go. Vu, I think you mentioned that you would take your parents there. Perfect spot for them. Nice cool breeze off the water at this time of day. I think they do I think, not sure if they do a happy hour, to be honest. There are some places around town that don't do a happy hour. Probably, probably wouldn't matter for them. They probably don't mind at all. Um, yeah, worth checking out. Worth checking out. Nice part of town. Lots of places to eat. Lots of places for breakfast, lunch, dinner. Nothing much happens sort of during the day, to be honest. Like, don't get caught in the trap of going there thinking, sort of during the day that you'll walk around and there'll be sort of cool things to do and see and stuff like that. It's more of a sort of a nighttime, late afternoon, nighttime, or breakfast. Great for breakfast. And there's probably a lot of Airbnb places around there as well that you can stay. Cool. What was my other tip? Oh yeah. Okay, there's a couple more. So the first one was weekend. 86 proof was the second one for cocktails. Clay for drinks by the river. A place called Satsuma House. Um, it's actually on the Saigon River and pretty much directly across. It's sort of down a little bit from Saigon Bridge, and beyond that is Landmark 81. So it's a really cool place to go to for a happy hour drink or something like that, or a sundowner. As the sun goes down and the lights start to come on Landmark 81, and it's a pretty special view. So again, a little bit breezy off the river as well. So not a bad spot. I'll leave that in the what do you the description. Hey, is the internet breaking up? Is it? I think the connection hasn't been too bad this week, but it is going in and out. And finally, on that one for Thao Dien, the deck. The deck is one of the oldest places. It's a bit of an institution, and as it suggests, there's a nice sort of one story kind of almost like a boathouse with a deck. It's got a little deck there out on the river. And in recent years, I don't know how long ago, they took over the place next door, and there's kind of a big bar in the middle there. And yeah, it's really cool. Good looking people go there. I haven't been there for a long time, but it's still worth checking out if you're over there. Okay, there's a couple of big Aussies getting about. I might put some Aussie spray on my ankles. Thanks, Mum. Here we go. That's the tropics for you, isn't it? Don't forget the Mozzie spray. Yeah, I've still got my juice. Okay. Hey, Matt, can you? This is Vu. Hey, Matt, can you? Oh, you know what? I'm using the StreamYard for the first time in a long time, and I just realized that I just remembered that I can do this. There we go. So I can put up the the question or the topic. Yeah, I'm a little bit slow. Sorry about that. So Vu says, "Hey Matt, can you make a best banh mi places to eat in Saigon?" Yeah, I could probably do it now. I could probably give you a list now. But yeah, I might do that. I think it would be good for SEO as well. I think it would be good for views. And it seems like there was an article on the ABC website today, I think it was, or yesterday, that got a lot of traction in the Vietnam, what's it called? Vietnamese Vietnamese banh mi Vietnamese Banh Mi Appreciation Society Facebook group page, which I'm a member of, and it got this particular article about how Aussies are kind of addicted to, or how popular banh mi is among Aussies these days, and yeah, it got shared multiple times. But the thing I notice is that a lot of them come over here and they just go to the same old places. So yeah, good idea, Vu. I might do that. Um, I do have a video of one in District 8 that is sensational, and it's one of those banh mi places where they bake the bread as well, and you know they send it out to other banh mi places. So their bread is top notch, and it's the what do you call it? The duck root. So not the light fluffy one, but the more dense one. Yeah. Okay, here we go. Here we go, bees. You're up. 3 nights at the Intercontinental, Matt. Your life is such a struggle. How do you cope? Yeah, it was a sensational stay. The only thing with doing those sort of media stays is that often you, on check, you get greeted sometimes by the general manager, but usually by the Marcom manager, the marketing communications manager, and some of their team. And I've been to places where they pull out a whole schedule for me for 2 days. You know, at 9 o'clock you have breakfast. At 10 o'clock we'll show you around the grounds. At 11 o'clock we do a art and craft thing for our. There's Mossy's coming out now. We do an art and craft thing, you know, with local artisans, which I shouldn't complain. The times that I've done those have been really good. I did one in Nha Trang once, and I met a famous old photographer, and as part of it, they took us around. It was a bit of a tour that this particular resort had organised, and it was like an art tour, and they took us to a painter, a photographer, and a sculptor. And it's something that I just wouldn't ever do on a holiday. And I'm still connected to the photographer to this day, who started out as a cyclo driver. Cyclo is like a little, the little bicycles that well, you don't see them much anymore, but they carry around people on the front. They're kind of like the olden days Grab or Uber drivers. And he started out his life as a cyclo driver in Nha Trang and developed a love for photography, and then was fortunate enough to sort of, in a way, be befriended by, I think it was a Dutch couple, and I think they bought him his first camera, and when he was about 20, and now he might be in his 60s or 70s now, and has had a long career in photography. So very interesting. With the Intercon bees, look him up, the man who did all the interior and exterior design, actually, I think, but mostly interior design. His name is Bill Bensley, and he's very well known in the region for being an interior designer for resorts like this, and he's got this sort of quirky, wacky way of doing things. And another place that I stayed at, he did the Intercon in Da Nang, and another one I stayed at was up in Hanoi. I'll have to get Mel to remind me. It's opposite the Metropole, but he did the interior for that. Sensational. And Also the Marriott on Phu Quoc, I've stayed on that as well. But you know, the downside is that you're basically you know, you're owned by someone for the 2 or 3 days, which is okay. And then you have to write the article afterwards and then have it checked as well. So I don't tend to do that sort of stuff much anymore. Well, I don't. I haven't done one. I think the Intercon was probably the last one that I did. That's another story. I know. Okay, cool. Oh, Timmy T. Hello, Timmy T. Good afternoon. Thanks for joining. Good to see you again in the chat. Where are you again? Are you on the East Coast or West Coast? I can't remember. Cool. Um, okay, everything seems to be going okay at the moment. Touch wood. My only concern at the moment is the battery on the camera because I haven't got it connected to a power source. So if this live stream cuts out at any point from now on, it could be the camera. But hang on because I've got another battery and I can quickly slot it back in and restart. And hopefully you guys will hang around and keep watching. Okay, cool. Do we have any more questions? Mini pork. Okay, Peter's talking about the banh mi. Mini pork patty banh mi. I think you mean the siu mai, which is sort of what you would call the duck bit or the duck san from Dalat, and they're like the little they're like pork patties, almost like a mini burger, and they put them in the banh mi and with a sauce and maybe a little bit of vegetables and stuff like that. Don't make a judgment on them until you've had them in Dalat. Dalat is basically the home of the banh mi siu mai. Yeah, sensational, absolutely sensational. But you know what isn't sensational when it's bread, really nice crispy bread. We're over here. That's our that's our taxi. No. Yeah, anything is sensational in crispy, fresh bread with tomato sauce, kind of like tomato sauce. I think so. I think that's what you were talking about, Peter. Yeah, Mel, thanks. Capella, Hanoi. I stayed there for two or three nights a couple of years ago, and they also had a sort of an artist tour that guests could do if they were interested. And I was lucky enough to go. It was funny because the way they picked me up at where did they pick me up? They must have picked me up at the airport. They picked me up in like a Maybach, you know, those Mercedes-Benz cars. I think that's what it's called, a Maybach. Maybach picked me up, so I got the ride in the chauffeur-driven service from the airport into the hotel. And then on the day that I went out to this lacquer artist, which was a great experience, here I am rolling through the back streets of outer Hanoi in this Maybach. It was out there. It was just one of those moments where when you're in Vietnam and you just go, you know, if everyone could see me now. It was really cool, and the artist was really cool, and I made Mel a little piece of artwork, which she liked, which was great. Pella, it's a sensational hotel. Sensational. Just the attention to detail with everything. The teppanyaki restaurant, the teppanyaki restaurant downstairs, sort of in the basement. It's got its second Michelin star. I think I'm back. Sorry about that. Okay. Yeah, I'm not sure. Sometimes the internet's cutting out, I think. I think that's why we're getting that patchy reception. So sorry about that. Bear with it. At the moment, I just don't really know, other than my house, uh, where to do a live stream that's got a really consistent Wi-Fi. But anyway, Timmy, I'm doing well here. So far, it's only 6 a.m. here in Washington. Oops, cutting out. Can't have anything happens yet. So can't. Oh, okay. So early in the morning for you, Timmy. Okay, that's good that you join us. Um, hopefully my Wi-Fi is going to keep together for you to stay on a little bit longer. Is it working there? Yeah, it's gone down a bit. Yeah. Okay, we're getting. I think we've just dropped out of the Wi-Fi. Are you guys still there? Let me know if you're still there. I can't really tell if you're still online. Although it says 6 people are on. Timmy T, hey Vu, they're having a chat about banh. Yeah, it's like the donut. It's like the donut that you have with pho, and you know, like in Hanoi, typically it's about that long. Down south, we have these big long ones, and you get those fresh ones. They're sensational. You dip it into your soup. Love it. Yeah. Sorry, Lana. Oh, connection has been fine. Oh, okay. All right, cool. All right, cool. Yeah, Wi-Fi is a bit funny. Okay, cool, nice. Okay, so let me continue. Bear with me. Um, Here's one that might interest you. There was a little bit of an incident with Jet the other day, a couple of days ago. Sorry, the wrong. There we go. I don't know how to get yours. Just bear with me for a sec. Okay, yeah, there was a bit of an incident the other day. Plane skidded off the runway at Aquaplane. We had quite a bit of rain, as I mentioned earlier. We had something like 2 in places like Binyong, Tuduk, maybe even Gucci. We had something like 200 millimeters of rain in a short period of time, and according to the weather guys and stuff like that, Ho Chi Minh City rarely has over 100 millimeters of rain. So you can imagine what the streets were like. The water was coming up to up to the doors in cars, and motorbikes were getting there were torrents of water running down some of the streets, and motorbikes were getting taken along with it. So this particular plane here apparently was coming in to land at Tan Son Nhat, the airport here in Saigon, and just got one of those sort of gusts of wind coming across, a bit of a wind shear, along with a sudden dump of rain. So it started to aquaplane, and fortunately I think it did run off the end of the runway, but only just, and clipped some lights and blew out a couple of tyres. So um, I think the reason why I put that up was that um, I always say to people, if you're flying into Saigon, fly in the morning. So less turbulence, less likelihood, I think it's fair to say, for a rainstorm, a thunderstorm. And often the thunderstorms gather and drop right on top of the airport there, So some of you may have experienced some of that turbulence coming into Saigon. So let us know. Let us know in the chat if you've had any sort of hairy experiences flying into Saigon, and any tips that you've got flying into Saigon as well. My major one would be fly in the morning if you can. And that's what I try to do. Whenever I fly, especially in the rainy season, I try to get flights that are early. Last year I went to Singapore, sort of the end of last year. Singapore, I was co-hosting the craft beer festival over there, and I was lucky enough for them to pay for my ticket. It was good. It was a paid gig at a beer festival. How about that? And I requested an early. They initially wanted to book me on a sort of a late afternoon flight because they thought I'd be hungover. But I said, no, I want to get out as early as possible so I can land in Saigon in the morning. Timmy T, here we go. Here's one. Let me put this one up. This is what Timmy asks. Anything new with the new airport in Longtan? Look, I can only go by what's in the news, and I believe they're on schedule. Sorry, I'm just swatting mosquitoes while I'm at it. I believe that they're on schedule to open the end of next year. So that's pretty good. That's pretty amazing. But hopefully it gets done well. I mean, they've really rushed it through, and they've been asked by the government to get it done quick. But of course, just this week, we had all that rain, and there's been the third domestic terminal at the current Saigon airport, city airport. It opened at the beginning of April, and the first deluge of rain, the roof leaked. So that was a bit of a drama. But as far as I know, it's on schedule to be finished by the end of next year, which will be pretty good, I think. And I think the current airport will become mostly domestic. Sorry, they're huge here. These mozzies are huge. Hang on, I'm going to have to get some more mozzie repellent. Wherever it is. I think it's in this bag. But make sure I get the right one out. Yeah, so I think the plan is for, obviously most international flights to come out of the Longtan airport. And then, the current airport now will be mostly domestic, which would be pretty cool. And I don't know what they're going to do with Airport Link, though. There's no rail line out there at the moment. I'm assuming that they're going to have a nice highway out there if it's not built already. Timmy T, that airport is being built. Longtan. It hasn't been long. No pun intended. Let me just. What sort of live stream is this turning into? Hey? It's not baby oil. Whoops. No, that Longtan has only been underway for a few years, I think. It took a little while because obviously there was a community living there, and they had to relocate them, so that took a while. I think they may have had a few little issues with that for a while, which is understandable. People not wanting to leave where they grew up or properties that they already owned, so that was probably a little bit tricky. But other than that, I think it's been, I don't know how long it takes to build an international airport, but it's going to be a pretty big one. I think it's going to be able to handle 100, uh, would this be right? 100,000 passengers a year, I think. So I'm assuming that's pretty big. It sounds big to me. You might be right, Timmy, but yeah, look, I think in light of the metro taking so long, that it was like, okay, we've got to get this airport done. Let's not muck around. And as far as I can tell, it's probably what 5 years from go to woe, maybe, as long as it gets done by the end of next year, which will be interesting. I think once it comes online, it'll be interesting to see what happens with tourism in Ho Chi Minh City, because obviously the current airport is right in the centre of town, essentially. It'll be interesting to see whether people fly into the new airport and then immediately, you know, go to the resorts and stuff like that in the, heading up the coastline there. I always thought that Vung Tau might really feel some positive effects from it. We may see Vung Tau really take off, and they're about to get a Hilton. I think it's a Hilton hotel. They're building it right on Front Beach, the original Front Beach area, not the long one, not Back Beach, Front Beach. They're building a brand of the Hilton, I think it is, right there, right in the centre of town. So that may be a bit of an indicator as to the direction that Vung Tau is going to take. If I had a little bit of cash, I think I'd buy something around there. Timmy, we used to live in Bin Hoa. Okay, cool. Yeah. Before April 30, 1975. Okay. Bin Hoa was in the news a lot recently, actually, with the whole, the Trump thing and pulling funding for the Agent Orange cleanup in Bin Hoa. So I don't really know what's happening with it. Hopefully it's continuing. Okay. Let me move on. Let me move on a little bit. What's my next one? I don't know if you like these kind of newsy stories to sort of, um, you know, just to put in between the chat and a few questions and stuff like that. But it gives me sort of prompts to keep going, and so I'm not just sitting there. Some live streams that I watch, you'll see guys eating. They'll be just sitting there eating, and people asking them questions, and they're just like, yeah, nah, no, yeah. So, hopefully this is interesting enough for you. Let me know anyway. Let me know in the chat if you'd like to see more of this sort of stuff, like, sort of little newsy things or whatever it is to break things up a bit. What's my next one? I think we've had that one already. I've skipped one somewhere. Oh yeah, this is the rain one. I just wanted to show you this. This is the rain. This is an example of the amount of water that dropped on Friday night, and I've got a few little tidbits here. Yeah, 220 millimeters Saturday morning around Tuduk at 6 a.m. Water levels rose halfway up the height of wheels, so basically, I guess, to the floorboards of cars. And Binchan, actually, near us, Binchan. Binchan is a district just sort of over from District 7, not too far from us. They had at least 100 mils, but I didn't notice. I was sound asleep. Beautiful, beautiful time to be sleeping. And that's the upside of living in these sort of high-rise apartments, even though ours isn't very big. But you can be oblivious to what's going on. Very privileged to be living in something like that. I really feel for the people um, who are living in these areas, and they just get inundated for nearly 6 months of the year. And you'll go through these neighbourhoods that the streets going through them are really high, and then in some places people have to crouch down to get into their house because the roads just keep getting built up and up and up, but the houses don't. So it's quite common to see in those areas these sort of, a road and then the roof of a house like that, and people have to go down into them. So very precarious at this time of year, and I hope everyone's okay. Hey, Timmy. Yeah, thanks. Have a great evening. Thank you. And morning wherever around the world. I'm off to get some work done before my round of golf later on. Well done. All right. Thanks, Timmy. Thanks for joining again. I really appreciate it. Have a good round. All righty. I've got a couple of other stories here that may interest you. It's a funny little setup, this. Oh, yeah, this is just one about tourism that I thought you might be interested in. And it's been in the news a lot, and that Vietnam is really catching the eye of international tourists or people thinking about traveling to this part of the world. And according to this article, I don't know where they get their data from, but I guess Google searches, and they're saying that the global search volume for tourist accommodation increased somewhere between 10 to 25%. Okay, that's a pretty big discrepancy, but 10 to 25% since early 2025. Seventh in the world for growth in destination searches. Vietnam is the only Southeast Asian country in the top 10. And the top searches in Vietnam, Ho Chi Minh City, in no particular order. So I don't know how, I don't know about the veracity of this research. They don't really say where it's from. I just assumed it was from Google. But anyway, something to talk about. Top 10 places in Vietnam searched by potential tourists to Vietnam. Ho Chi Minh City, Hanoi, Da Nang, Phu Quoc, Nha Trang, Hoi An, Vung Tau, which is an interesting one. Maybe we are starting to see, it's a bit of a reaction to the news coming out that Vietnam is considering a golden visa. So Vung Tau, not too far from here, about 2 hours by road and by ferry, has sort of traditionally been a little sort of sleepy kind of place where a lot of Aussies anyway have come to sort of retire or live on their pension. So maybe there's a lot of Aussies thinking about coming to Vung Tau, more Aussies coming to Vung Tau to retire, given that news was released. That, or the whispers that were going around that there might be a golden visa. But it also may be it could be due to property prices as well. It could be something about that as well. I'd imagine property is going up. What else? So Hoi An, Vung Tau, Da Lat, Phan Thiet. Now, Phan Thiet is sort of what you would probably call it may be the capital of, what province is it? Someone in the chat will be able to tell me. But it's just a little bit further along is sort of the coastal, you might call it a tourist village called Mu Ne. And it's got a little bay there, and it's got a very nice beach. Traditionally, it's been a place a little bit like Vung Tau, where Saigoners have driven up the road. It used to take, oh, sorry, I'm losing battery. I'm losing battery. I'm going to have to replace it. I think I might lose you for a moment. Or should I wrap it up? I don't know if you can still, if I'm still here. I don't know if it, I don't know if it stays. I don't know if you guys can, if you guys can hear me, let me know. let, let me know if you're still there. Can you hold that? Thanks, Mel. Okay. Oh, oh, hang on. Oh, maybe just say something. Are you able to say anything? All right. I don't know if it's on. Let's see. Are you guys still there? I hope you're still there. Yeah, you just go like this. There we go. Okay. It seems like you hung around, which was good. We just lost vision off the battery. Sorry. So I've just changed the battery. TJ, how you going, TJ? Thanks for joining again. Vietnam is way more interesting than Singapore. Hey, I don't try and get into trouble, and don't try and put words in my mouth. I tell you what, though, Singapore has amazing food, and those hawker centres. Um, move up there a little bit, Mel. Those hawker centres that they have in Singapore are absolutely sensational. And it's amazing that in a city that is so expensive to visit, especially in terms of accommodation and cocktails and going out and stuff like that, that you can go to those hawker centres and have amazing food, you know. And it's just I guess it's a really good model for what can be done, um, in Southeast Asia, I suppose. Having said that, I prefer Vietnam. That's my diplomatic answer to that. Uh, okay, okay. Yeah. He says, "Hey, Mel, if I were to go to the Philippines, how long should I stay for?" Dude, there are like 7,000 islands. I think there's 7,000 islands at high tide, and at low tide, I think there's about 8,000 islands. So, how long's a piece of string, really? So, yeah, I know there's lots of mozzies everywhere. This is part of it, though. Yeah, Philippines is amazing. It's absolutely amazing. I wouldn't stay too long in Manila. If you're thinking about going with your parents, it might be a little bit easier to fly into Manila. Don't get me wrong, I love Manila, and Mel's from Manila. Um, and and move over there. Um, Mel's from Manila, and Manila, if you're a historian, is amazing for history. An amazing city for history, and also for food. Believe it or not, Filipino food gets a really bad rap, but that comes from people who go to the Philippines and eat in malls, and they eat Jollibee. They use Jollibee as a benchmark for Filipino cuisine, which is just totally wrong. Oh, that's a nice looking boat. I love the colour. Um, but you know, Probably what I would suggest is there's an island. Look it up. It's called Boracay. So what you can do is fly into Manila and then get a domestic flight straight out of Manila and down to Boracay into the islands there. Beautiful, sensational. There's so many places, so you could probably easily spend a couple of weeks there. Easily, you could spend a lifetime there. But okay, what else have we got? I'm really glad you guys were able to stay on with this. I think because I'm using this third party app, um, it meant that I could have things still on screen and not um, not be bound by the camera, which is great. These, I'm all about the food, Matt. Yeah, totally. I mean, it's not worth coming to Vietnam, for example, if we're talking about Vietnam or the Philippines. Don't go if you don't like food. I mean, it's before I came to live in Vietnam, I just ate in order to fill a void, really. I mean, I loved food and I loved barbecues and I loved roast dinners and, I loved going out for dinner. But that probably wasn't the main thing on my mind when I did that. Whereas here, it just really changes your mindset and you become more local in that sense. Um, I still have habits where if I go drinking with Vietnamese friends and I'm not eating, they'll be like, "Dude, where's the food? What are you doing? Like, where is it? We need food." And so they'll order up then. So massive, massive part of the culture that I can't express enough. TJ, too many tourists. Not sure. Where do you mean? Do you mean Boracay? Yeah, it would be. But I'm just sort of thinking if Vu was taking his parents there, um, or even if he was taking his children there, Boracay would give them a lot of things to do. And it's fairly easy to get there, even though when you fly, you have to actually sort of fly to an. There's so many islands. You fly to an island, and then you have to take a boat to Baraka, which is an island. But it's an adventure, and it would be okay with kids as well. There are plenty of kids that go there. PJ, I live in the lower Blue Mountains. Oh, nice. Very nice. Sounds like a good place. Where is the lower Blue Mountains, though? Is that like heading down towards the border? Because I grew up in northern Victoria, pretty much on the border with on the Murray River. So yeah, that'd be good to know, TJ. Lana, I may consider retiring in Vietnam down the track. Still too young at the moment. LOL. Lucky you. Lucky you. Good to have options. Okay, cool. All right. Yeah, and going back to yeah, the topic I think was Vietnam surpasses Thailand, Singapore in tourism searches. Yeah, that's right. That's why Singapore came up. Yeah, that's right. Um, and so the search for accommodation in Vietnam went up significantly in the past few months. And the people who showed most interest were Americans, Indians, Australians, Japanese, Singaporeans, South Koreans, uh, UK, Taiwanese, Malaysians, Hong Kongers. And that was because of a perception of affordability. Yep, definitely. Improved infrastructure. Yes, definitely. And more direct flights. Yeah. Vietnam's been working hard on more direct flights to make it easier to get here. Uh, I think. So, yeah. Okay, cool. It's absolutely beautiful here at the moment. What time is it? It's 5:30. I just need a little chip break if the chips are okay still. Yeah, good vibes. or they're a little bit soggy. This might be a good little opportunity to remind you that next week we're probably going to do this live stream here again. I mean, if you guys are happy with the location, I think there's enough for you to sort of see, rather than just having my ugly mug in the middle of your screen. And I plan to have Kwa on the live stream. I just did a video with him recently on his channel, and I'm gonna ask him a few things about life in Vietnam. He's a father as well, finding the best families to live, the difficulties with finding schools, and any other sort of topics, maybe relationships. I don't know if he's willing to talk about that. Working in Vietnam, perhaps his favorite travel destinations and stuff like that. Excuse me. I've got a chip stuck in my throat. And any other sort of questions that you guys might have for him and me, but he's going to be the guest on the live stream. So he's Vietnam. He was born here, and he has a very interesting story to tell. So he was born before the end of the war. I don't know if he's going to talk about that. I don't really want to bring that up unless he brings it up, but he has a very interesting story to tell about that. So he's around about my age, a little bit older than me. He's also a filmmaker, and an interesting guy, lovely guy. And he's going to be on, we'll probably do it 4 o'clock. It's a very noisy boat for a small boat. We're going to do it at 4 o'clock, same time probably, if that suits you guys. So if you've got any questions, drop them in the comments now, or if you come up with any during the week, just come back to this video and put them in there if you can. That'd be really good. And I can sort of, I won't preempt his answers, but I might give him an idea of the types of things that you guys are interested in. These are these little long-tail boats. See that one? So Thailand is probably better known for those sort of long-tail wooden boats, but Vietnam has them as well. The Vietnamese don't scoop them up though like the Thais do. Okay. Blue Mountains, west of Sydney. Just scrolling through the chat here. TJ, yes, direct flights, affordability, food, people, and it's entirely different from Australia. Retirement. Yeah. Yeah, I think you've hit on all the points there. Some of you will know that I've had a few of my old school friends visit me in the past couple of months or so, and some of them I haven't seen for 30 years. And through our sort of connections and stuff like that, because by and large we've lost touch with each other. Some of them I used to play football with. Sorry, this chip got stuck. Some of them I used to play football with. Some of them I used to go to school with. For whatever reason, life got in the way, and hadn't seen them for 30 years. And then through other friends and connections, they're like, "Hey, Matt lives in Vietnam," because Vietnam is starting to pop up on everyone's radar in Australia, and they're like, "Okay, what is Vietnam?" And I'm very surprised. I think I said in one of my videos recently, when the one when I interviewed the German family, and I mentioned that the Vietnam War isn't taught at schools, as far as I can tell, in Australia. And if it is, it would be like maybe the Battle of Long Tan, um, and that's the extent of it. So my friends who came, their feedback was, how amazing is Vietnam? We had no idea. We love the food. We love the people. Um, they had a few tricky moments here and there, which you do. Let's face it, Vietnam is still developing. So, there's little things that happen here and there, that make travel kind of difficult. But these guys were very philosophical about it, and also they just put it down to as an adventure. Their kids they're empty nesters. Their kids have left home, and they're like, let's go for a bit of an adventure. And they chose Vietnam. And they were very impressed. They really liked it, and the things I'm talking about were food, affordability. Surprised at how good the infrastructure actually is compared to what their perception of it was. Funnily enough, I had another old friend contact me. I haven't seen him for 30-something years either, and he direct messaged me and he said, "Hey, we're thinking about coming in July. I'll be looking for some tips, like maybe hotels, how to get around. Do people get around in trains, buses, goats?" He said. So this is sort of the mindset that a lot of Aussies still have, that Vietnam is still very backward, and it couldn't be further from the truth. So he's in for a big surprise. I think he'll really enjoy, especially the drinking culture. Oh, Matt, I wore the grab jacket to work the other day. Loved it. Okay, cool, nice. Yeah, I'm glad we got that for you. I still think it's a little bit strange. I don't really get the attraction, but I think that's because I live here. So, um, you know, yeah, it's a kind of a cool little souvenir, isn't it? Yeah, and the market was awesome too. I mean, you know, if anyone in the chat wants to find out more about the market that we went to, where we got Vu's grab jacket, hit him up. Hit him up in the chat, because it's a very interesting market. Lots of little knickknacks there. And I think I got you a discount as well. Hey, don't forget that. Don't forget that. Lana. Okay, here we go. I might put this one up, Lana. I don't know if I could completely retire in Vietnam. I do live in a rather beautiful life. I do live a rather beautiful life here in Australia. I would miss the Aussie way of life. Yeah, very understandable. Very understandable. And I think as obviously as you get older, you get a little bit set in your ways, and I think was it Terry? Is it? I can't remember his name. Sorry, if it's not Terry. Who's going to Da Nang? Um, he asked me if I travel much in Vietnam these days, and as much as I do want to travel a lot, I'm still very happy hanging out in Saigon, because I like getting up in the morning and having my coffee and going to the places that I like, and very much into routine. So, that's sort of a thing that has probably. um, I mean, I loved routine in the past when I was younger, but I think it intensifies as you get older. You just get used to doing those sorts of things, and it's quite hard to break out of your comfort zone. But when you do, that's the great thing about living in Vietnam, is that you can be you might be bored one day, or you might be having a bit of a down day for whatever reason and feeling a bit shitty or just not motivated. But these days, I know that pretty much as soon as I leave the door, and head out, say, into a market or whatever, everything that I was thinking about is gone for at least those couple of hours that I'm out there, because I'm interacting with people and chatting to people who are always curious about why the hell I'm in their market and at their stall in some, you know, some wet market out in this back district somewhere in Ho Chi Minh City, and they're just like, "What are you doing here?" As if to say, you know, I don't even want to be here, but what are you doing here, kind of thing. And it just makes your day. It really picks you up. So, yeah. But I like your style, Lana. I think having a really nice mix of being in Australia, perhaps when it gets too cold, if you live in a cold part of Australia, it might be really nice to let me see if I can zoom a little bit more for you guys. I don't want to muck things up. Yeah, it might be really nice if you have like one or 2 months of the year that are super cold or something like that, and then be able to zip over here and hang out in Vung Tau or Nha Trang or something like that by the beach, or Da Nang. You know, there might be direct flight. I don't know if there are direct flights from Australia to Da Nang, but yeah, I think in the future it would be something that I would like if I could do it. Okay. I don't know if I could. Yeah. Okay, just going through here. TJ, be patient. Yeah. Okay, that's a good one. Be patient during those tricky moments, and good things will come your way when traveling in Vietnam. Yeah, 100%. 100%. You can. It can be a real roller coaster ride for sure, whether you're living here or traveling here. And if you can push through that in some way, uh, and one way of doing that I've found that really helps me, if, like I said, if I have a crap day, it's just get on the motorbike and ride to some kind of district that perhaps I haven't been to, or a market I haven't been to before, and just start walking through. I mean, most of you in the chat have seen some of my recent videos where I just pull the camera out and start walking. And in many respects, the camera actually makes things much easier, because they see the camera rolling and they're just like, hello, where are you from? You know, very playful. So, let me see. A discount mat. Remember, we've seen skills. Yeah, I think I did okay. I think I did okay. I mean, it was a public holiday after all, and I was feeling kind of generous. So, yeah, but I need to work on that. Okay, I'm laughing at this. I'm laughing at this. He got me a discount, bees, from 250K to 230. Now, let's get this straight, bees. When we went into the market, suddenly Vu went all shy, because the lady selling the grab jackets, she was actually quite forward and very confident and very keen to make a sale. And Vu kind of went into his shell a little bit. So, you know, I thought the best thing I could do was take it upon myself to just sort of have a little chat to the side in her ear every now and then to lower the price. And you know, think I think Vu would have bought it off the rack if I wasn't there. So you owe me one, Vu. Oh no, You don't really, because you bought me the bullets, so we're square. That's okay. Just get me a bigger bag next time. Okay. I hope the internet's okay. I hope it's working okay. And I think I have a final news topic. I've just got to find it. It's quite an interesting one. Here we go. This one here. Oh, no, not that one. I don't know what's happening. Sorry. Bear with me. It's this one. Yeah, this one here. Just this week was, I think it's called Vesak in the Buddhist calendar. I think it's maybe the Buddha's birthday, or it's like the biggest celebration in the Buddhist religion or Buddhism. And just this past week, they put on display the heart of Quang Duc. He was, of course, I don't know. You say famous? He became famous because he self-immolated in, I think it was in 1963. Let me check this. I just need to be careful with what I say on this one, but I just found it very interesting. So, of course, Quang Duc was the Buddhist monk who disagreed with the government at the time, South Vietnamese president at the time, and in protest, he self-immolated. So he, I think you guys know what that is anyway. And there's a famous photo of him of that particular day, and it's said that basically the only thing there were remains after it happened, but his heart was relatively intact. And so it was preserved, and it's been sitting in a vault in a specially made glass case for the past 34 years or something like that. I've got it written down here. Sorry, I'm not telling this story very well, mostly because I have to be careful with how I explain it. But yeah, his heart has been, just a moment, bear with me. His heart has been stored in the State Bank vault here in Ho Chi Minh for the past. Sorry about that. I'm just going to put it. I'm just a bit worried about the internet. Okay, we're back. Yeah, for the past 34 years, enshrined in this glass case, and it was put on display at a pagoda in District 10, and it's said that there were like 50,000 people who signed up in advance to be able to view his heart. I would have liked to have gone along just to experience the event, but obviously I'm not Buddhist, and yeah, I'm not too sure how I would have felt about it. But it would have been good to have done a story on it, perhaps. But anyway, if you're coming to Saigon and you can go to the intersection where it all took place back in 1963, and it's not at all today. It's an intersection where regular traffic goes through, but there's a really beautiful, I guess you'd call it a shrine, a memorial to him, and it's very, very well done. It also tells the story. It depicts the story through sculpture. There's a wall sculpture there that's really beautifully done as well. I'm not sure whether it's done in stone or metal. I can't remember now, but it's a very moving place. I'm not particularly religious by any stretch of the imagination, but people like me who aren't religious can go there and definitely feel you know, whether that's feel something, whether it's because it was such a significant event took place at that intersection, almost in our lifetime. You know, it was a very significant moment, at a very turbulent time in Vietnam's history, and you can go there and learn a little bit about it. You don't need to go there with anyone. I'm not even sure if there's English there. I can't remember, but there is a really beautiful depiction of what took place on that particular day. So I recommend it. Yeah. What else? Yeah. So what do we got here? TJ, Vietnam Airlines has direct flights from Sydney to Da Nang. Okay, cool. Thanks for the tip. So that's not bad. That's really good. What is it? 8 hours, I suppose. 8 hours is not too bad. Hey. Mel, Vu is asking if you're okay for him buying me lollies. Lollies are candies. We call them, Aussies call lollies candies. I think she's okay with it. She's okay. At least it's not booze or smokes. Vu. Daz. Daz. Daz is in the house. Good to see you, Daz. Good to see you join in the live stream. Mel is, you might be able to see her just there, chilling. My producer. Getting bitten. She's my mozzie magnet. Uh, yeah, you could put both of us in a glass box full of mozzies and she would get attacked and I probably wouldn't get by one. Although, having said that, we've got a lot of mozzies here at the moment. But good to hear from you, Daz. Actually, I just mentioned earlier that I'm going to have a guest on next Sunday for the live session. And Vu, you'll be a good one as well. So when you come back, whenever that is, I'll get you on. And Daz, you will be a good one probably because you're, you know, how else can I put it? You're fresh meat in Vietnam. And so you have quite a unique perspective, a very fresh perspective of what it's like to be fresh meat in Vietnam, for want of a better expression. So it probably would be really good for some of our viewers who not necessarily join the live stream after the fact. A lot of people actually watch these videos after the live stream when they get time, you know. So it would be good to get you on one day. See if we can organise that. If you're free from your sort of activities that you're up to at the moment. And I've got to say also, Daz is the one who, I blame him. He got me drunk the other week. And Rabid Dog. I haven't seen Rabid in the chat today. Rob, where are you today? Sorry if I missed it. No, you haven't missed it. We're still going, Rob. We're still going. Thanks for joining. Today we're in District 7. Sorry about that. It's just gone a little bit patchy. Hopefully we'll get back. Hang on a minute. I'll just wait for hope it's a bit better. Rob, in District 7, and we're at a cafe called Sangramar, but it's part of like Marina Club. Apologies for the internet, guys. It's just coming back now. It's starting to bar up again now. In District 7, by, I don't know what you call it. It is a river, I think. It's not a canal. I'm not too sure, but I don't know if you're familiar with District 7, but it's a big building that kind of looks like a ship. I might take a photo of it later, and share it somewhere, maybe in the notes after the live. But yeah, it's really cool, and it doesn't get busy. I didn't want to give away the location because I actually really love this place, and it's very good in the morning as well. And it's good for live streaming. Except I'd really like it if the internet was a bit better. But you can't have everything. But thanks for joining, Rob. Yeah. Rob, are you any relation to Moto Lorry in Dalat by any chance? Where are you watching from? Okay, this is based in Bungtown, so the weather can be similar, but they're by the ocean, so they get the ocean breeze. So yeah. Mozzies. More than enough time. You looked pretty. This is Dad. You looked pretty merry later in the afternoon when we chatted. I think you're talking about me, was it? When we were, yeah, yeah. I got really tired too. Okay, Daz. Good. So you're the culprit for Matt's condition. Yes, bees. Daz is the culprit. Um, Rabid, Rabid Dog, who's usually in the chat. Um, he's he's pretty restrained when it comes to drinking. It was Daz. It was Daz who was forcing them upon us, and I think it was the first time I drunk from jugs. Beer jugs, pitchers, as Americans would call them. Yeah, it's been a long time. Melanie. Oh, Matt, you have new subs. Yay! Thanks for that, guys. Whoever it is, sorry, I can't see. I can't see who's just subbed up, but thanks heaps for doing that. And hopefully see you in the live stream every Sunday. Usually, I think I've missed only one Sunday this year. I think um, I missed the week of the 50th anniversary celebrations. So yeah, it was just logistically, it was just going to be a bit difficult for me, and to do a live stream out in the streets as well. I tried, but it didn't really come off. So yeah. So thanks to the guys who have subbed up. Yeah. So right. Mel's just. Oh, the mosquitoes have subbed up. Okay. All right. Thanks for that, Mel. Thanks for that. She's taking the piss out of me now. But I'm sure there'll be someone. There'll be someone subbing up. Rob, no relation. Hadn't heard of it, but may have to check it out next time in Dalat. Yes, you really should. And if I remember, I'll put a link to an article that I wrote about our trip in Dalat, and it's called Moto Lorry. I think it's spelt the same as your name. Moto as in Moto, and his name is Laurie, or his family name is Laurie. I'm not too sure. I've never met him. And I've never heard about this place until we went to Dalat and we were asking young local kids, where should we go for dinner and a few beers and stuff like that. And this place came up in conversation. And it gets its name because by day it's like a motorbike mechanic shop, a motorbike garage. So they have I think it started its life as a garage, and they rent out motorbikes and stuff like that. I don't know if he's a mechanic, um, and they still have this business, but also they have this amazing restaurant, and they do probably, I think I say in the article, the best sort of Mediterranean style food. They do pizzas, they do I think we had a burger. Oh yeah, I had a lamb burger, which was sensational. You know, a lamb burger in Dalat was absolutely sensational. I think it came with beetroot, or we had a beetroot dip or something like that, and they did a few other Mediterranean style things. Sensational, really good, really highly recommend it. And the house that it's in also has a really good view as well. So yeah, just luck that we asked someone about it, and I'd never seen any sort of promotion about it or anything like that. So really great find. I'll try to remember to add it in the description so you can check it out. Yeah, really enjoyed it. I mean, you go to Dalat expecting to eat great Vietnamese food, which we did, but then we found this gem. We found a couple of other gems as well, which are listed in that article. So I'll share that. Vu doesn't. He's telling us he doesn't drink much alcohol. Okay, Vu. Okay. Yeah, probably a good idea. Bees. Okay. Are those mozzies bad, Mel? I usually get eaten alive by them when I'm on holiday. It's terrible. They seem to love me. Generally speaking, though, I don't think mozzies in Vietnam are that bad. For some reason, Mel attracts mozzies. Um, I don't know what it is. And Aussies. Oh, she's comment. Have you commented? Have you? Uh, but in the cities, you don't generally get that many. It's just that right here, right behind the camera, right behind you there, there's a lot of sort of swampy land and palm trees and, you know, an environment that is just perfect for mozzies. Yeah. So these boats have been going pretty strong for the last couple of hours. Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to stay on for about another 5 minutes because it's going to get dark, I think. It's going to get dark, and this camera doesn't perform very well in dark light, so in bad light. So, hey, and the wedding might fire up. There's a wedding that's going to happen, or they're doing it now. I think the band has started. So I'm going to hang around for another 5 minutes or so. I'll take the opportunity to thank you guys for joining because it kind of is a little bit hard to do this when there's no one at the other end of the line. So it's great that I've got, you know, I've got 8 of you at the moment, which is great, which is really cool, listening in. But just a reminder, next week I've got a special guest on. He's a lovely guy, Qua, American, born here, but spent his formative years in America and early adulthood, and then decided to come back to Vietnam and reconnect with the country. And, you know, in a way, like what a lot like people like Vu, who's in the chat here, um, you know, trying to sort of reconnect with their heritage and learn more about their heritage. And so hopefully, well, he will. He'll tell us a lot about his background, which should be really interesting. And so it would be great if you guys can chip in a few questions to ask him. He's about 50, he's 53 or something like that, married, couple of kids, filmmaker, lived, lived in Vietnam for 20 years. So far, uh, has lived most of his life in the US, but the last 20 years here in Vietnam. So I'm sure you can come up with a lot of questions for him, and that'd be feel free to ask things about, you know, perhaps you've got questions about culture, education, living. I think you can ask about living expenses and stuff like that. People seem to be really interested in that. Those videos, YouTube, seem to go pretty well. I'm a little bit reluctant to do them. I just, you know, I just, I need to enjoy the process as well. I don't necessarily get a lot of fulfillment out of doing videos about how much things cost, but I understand that people are very keen to find out those things. So feel free to ask those questions though. He's lovely, and that was a great walk and talk you did with him, Matt. Yeah, he's a lovely guy. I actually, I didn't work with him per se, but I worked at the same university as him. Um, well, and more than 10 years ago now, it's been. That's how we first met. I think I met him through Mel, actually, because Mel has a background in sort of production and stuff like that. So, yeah, lovely guy. All right, guys. Well, I think that's just about it for today. Thanks again for watching. I think the space went really well. Um, the background looks pretty good. So it's nice, good location, not noisy, given that it's a Sunday and Mother's Day. So hopefully, anyone there who's a mother, have a happy Mother's Day and enjoy your day. And that is about it from Saigon. Vu, no worries. Oh, good, no worries. It's a pleasure. I really enjoy doing it, actually. You know, I just I like how it provides just a different type of video, and that was the plan at the beginning of this year to feature Matt's Vietnam life in sort of different formats and in different styles, so that it doesn't sort of get stale. So yeah. All right, guys, take it easy, take care, and I'll see you in the next one. Yeah. Cheers.